Right, so today we'll be talking about two main things. So the first one is going to be the what if analysis in Excel, and then if time permits, we'll do some more complex version of it using something called a solver add-in in Excel. So those are the two main things that we'll try and cover between today and tomorrow. Then after those, the final thing we'll cover for Excel will be Power Query, and Babasine will be handling that. So tomorrow's class is probably going to be split into two. There would be. Can I zoom in? Sure, sure. This is Zoom working. Okay. Yeah. Is it better now? I finally got Excel installed on my laptop. The past few classes I've been doing it on the online version, but for what I needed to show you guys today, I needed to have Excel installed because that one didn't have some of the features that you require. Anyways, yeah, as I was saying, tomorrow's class will probably be split into two sessions. There'll be the normal one by 3 p.m. Chances are I'll take that. If nothing else comes up, I'll probably take that one, but it won't be as long. And maybe it will be as long, I don't know, but there's a high chance you have two sessions tomorrow because Babasinde is usually not available during the day because of his work. So when he's done with whatever he's doing, then in the evening he'll take you guys on Power Query, and then we'll close this first half of the course. So from next week, I suppose we should start SQL, or I think it's SQL that's the next thing. Then after SQL is Power Platform. Then we round up with Python, some introductory Python. So yeah, so there's a lot to look forward to in this next few weeks because we've gone through like half of the boot camp already. This is I think this is the fourth week, so we should be running up on like at least half. We're a bit behind, but we're trying to speed up. Well, thanks to me, we're a bit behind because I should have covered most of all of this. Well, anyways, so today I said we're doing what if analysis, and to explain the concept of what if analysis, I'll be using this sample spreadsheet. If you want to follow along, as always, it's best you have your own Excel sheet open so you can follow along. I'll try and explain. No, I'll try. I have to explain what this means for us to get the context. So let's say you own a bookstore, right? And you sell books. It's a bookstore after all. So and here this sheet's basically just showing us um just showing us how much books we sold in a given period of time, and how sorry, just a sec. Yeah, how many books we sold at at a given period of time. We sold 100, right? Then out of the total books that we sold them at two different prices. We sold them at a higher price of $50, and there's a lower price point that we set. That's the lowest we can go. So let's say by default, as a trader, you want to maximize profit. So by default, you are selling at this higher price of $50. And now chances are, like, there are people that are in the know, and when they go to the market, they like to price things, and you're willing to you know let them bid you down to like $20, so, or naira, whichever one. Anyways, you're willing to sell at the lowest price of $20. The highest you'd go is 50, which would probably be like your default, right? So let's now say we wanted to calculate what your total sales would be at the end of this your sale. So you've done your sale of 100, you sold a certain percent of them at the highest price. So you sold 100. You're now back home. You're now looking at, okay, how much did I actually make? How many did I sell for the highest price? How many did I sell for the lowest price? Right? Let me change this to a more friendly value. Like, I don't know why Control A doesn't work here. Well, anyways, shit. Oh, I have that thing on. Uh, just a minute. Can I? Okay. So change this. So yeah, let's use this. This looks better. So let's say we sold at the end of the day, you realize you sold 60% at the highest price, which is here we see is $50. This is the highest we sold the books. Yeah, I'm recording, yes. Because of last class, I'm recording. So we sold 60% of our books at 100 at $50. So, and even if I didn't have this part filled up, let me just show you how I got these values. These are the only, let's say this is all the information we had, right? So so that our highest price, we can already see this information here is 60%, or you can just try 60 anyone. That's the number of books that was, sorry, okay, this is the number of books. So yeah, this would be 60, but we can calculate this normally. Say, because this is easy to calculate, we already know it's 100 times 60% will give us 60, but we can write a simple formula for this, right? So if we wanted to calculate it, we could write a formula as such, say equal to, then we'll pick this cell multiplied by the percentage that was sold at the highest price, which is 60%. Just click that, then press oh I don't know what is, but that would be 60 divided by 100.6, so it should be, let me just change this manually. My keyboard doing rubbish. Let me, is it because I put percent? Let me remove it. Divided by 100. What's wrong with this thing now? 6,000. Not. I don't want percent. I will type it there manually. I don't know why it's doing. But you get the idea, Sha. 60% is what was sold. Ideally, this. So you know how you do the math, right? You do 60 divided by 100, then you multiply by 100, and that will give you 60 here. So, and then you can do the same thing. Actually, I need that. I think there's a formula. There's no formula here that is. Let me create a new sheet since this one is misbehaving. That should be good. Oh, is it my scenario? No, shouldn't be the case. Oh, I should close this. Delete. We're coming to that, by the way. Let me change this. Let's do it again. This is A4 times B4. You should know now. 6. That's no. Zero 0.6. Okay. But why is it saying 6? It's just evaluating it as a number. It should be percent. And it's being stubborn here for some reason. Nah, this sheet is misbehaving. Let's move to another sheet. Let me just copy those headers from there. Yeah, you can copy from this action. What? You can copy from one sheet to another sheet. I don't know. Did I talk about multiple sheets when we started? Well, if you didn't know, you can have you. It's possible to have multiple pages in a spreadsheet. They're called sheets, yeah. So you have like sheet one, sheet two, sheet three. You can just click this plus button to create a new like page. Let's try that again. 100 books sold, 60. Let me put that percent again. Just random. Let's say, let's just try equals A4 by B4. What is that? This is what we expect. Okay, let me try putting that percent sign. See, see, the value doesn't change because that's what it should be, right? I'm not spoofing. Yeah, that's correct. I think what's happening here is because I already did some motive analysis here. So there's some background scripts running that. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Anyways, we'll leave this sheet for now. Let's copy the rest of this information. Paste this here. So I'm just recreating that table. What? Okay, we also have a number of books, so should probably not copy that. Okay. So yes, as I was saying, to calculate that, you see, it's just a matter of multiplying both of them. Then the one that were sold at the lowest price automatically is 40% because 60% out of 100% of everything we sold is 40%. So and we can also we can directly write that value there, but for the purpose of being able to manipulate things, we can write it as a formula so that when we change some values, it will automatically update itself. So we can also write as a formula as follows. So the idea is we'll take this 60% from 100%, or aka 100% is the same thing as 1. Remember the percent sign in math means over 100, right? That's why 60% is 0.6, or 60 divided by 100. Same thing when 100% is 1, because 100 over 100 is 1. So the reason why I'm writing this 1 minus something, or 1 minus 60%, is because of that. So it's still the same thing. So the logic there is that if we've sold something out of 100% of our stock, we sold 60% at the highest price, then the remaining percent, which is 40%, we know that because we can easily calculate that in our head. But as far as Excel knows, we haven't written that logic there, so we have to write it there. So the way we write that is, obviously we have this 60%, so we just say 1 minus cell B4, which is a 60%, multiplied by the lowest, or how many, by the 100, right? So that will give us the remaining amount of things in our stock that we sold at the lowest price. Obviously, we had like other prices or other price points. You can spread that out and do the math using maybe something like autofill or whichever logic you want. But it follows the same idea, anyways. That's besides the point, Sha. We shall know for now that we sold 60% of our 100 stocks at $50, which is the highest selling price. Then the remaining percent was sold at this price point. So to calculate the total, of course, it is a matter of multiplying. It's basically how much profits came in at that day. If it was just one price that we sold all of them at, it would have just said 100 times that price, right? But now that we have two prices, we have to multiply them according to the amounts that they were sold at. So 60 of them, you see, this is the label 60 at 60. Sorry, sold at highest price. How many? 60 of them. What's the highest price? $50. So we can use the we can multiply those two cells together. So just do this cell 60 by highest selling price. Then we'll add that. Okay, uh, let me write that again. Let's use the sum function here. So we are adding the sum of products together. This multiplied by this, right? And we're adding this multiplied by 40 of them were sold at lowest price 20. So this is our total profits, right? Which makes sense. So this table makes sense to all of you, right? You know what you're looking at when you look at this table. It's important that you understand what this sheet or this table is saying before we do what we want to do next with what if analysis. So is everyone clear on the goal or what this spreadsheet is telling us? Or telling a bookstore owner at the end of a sales day or from market or something. Um, Toy, you have a question?
But
What?
how you calculated the total. I understand, and I understood it up to the part of how you got 40 for the sold at lowest price.
Yes. Okay, so you don't get how I got
So like
this.
after that, I didn't need this. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it together, right? If you sold, so you understand that out of the 100, 60 of them were sold at this $50. Then out of that same 100, the remaining 40 they were sold at $20. So if I wanted to calculate the total
Yes.
income that I had that day as the owner of the store, how much did I earn? We're not forget profit. We're just calculating how much came in that day. So here, obviously,
Okay.
you are adding the sum of the products, right? So you have the products in the sense that you have to multiply this 60 by 50 to get the total amount
Okay.
for at that price point for the number of items you sold at that price point. Then for the other one, you do 40 by 20 because you s- they don't have a uniform price that you sold all of them at. If it was that we sold 100 books at $50, it would have been straightforward. We just do 100 times 50, that's 5k. That's how much you earned. But because out of it's not all of them we sold at that price, we can't just do 100 times 50. So we need to do the one we sold at $50, multiply them together, hold that value one place. The one we sold at $40, multiply them together, hold the value, then you add the two together, and that gives us 38. That's what I did here. You see, I use the sum function, which allows us
Okay.
to, yeah, the sum function allows you to add two multiple numbers together, not
Okay.
just two numbers. You just need to separate them by comma, or you can specify a range. But because this isn't dynamic enough for me to specify ranges, I just specified the two products. So the first one is the 60 times 50, B9 times B14. That's the cell reference, comma the other total for 40 times 20. Then he gave me the 38 that we have there. So that's how that value came about. You get now, Abby?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
So that's how we basically that's what this table is all about. So now let's now what if analysis now involves something. Let's say we now wanted to say how much could I make if we alter this value. Let's say I wanted insight. So today at the end of the market you're saying, "Hi, I made 3.8 fair, but I want to make more. How much or how many, yeah, how much of the stock that I have tomorrow would I have to sell at the highest price for me to make a higher value, you know, uh, instead of getting this 3.8, how much could I possibly make if I increase this value here?" This 60% is the one that tells us we should sell 60% of the total of what we have at the higher price. So if I wanted to do that, like, how much could I possibly earn? If you just wanted an insight on what an end result could be when you change values that affect that end result, you use what if analysis tool. So now I'll show you how. Hopefully, what I just said makes sense. What I'm saying is, how can we know the possible outcomes of altering this value? So here's what one reason why uh you might need to ask that question. If you change this value from 60% to 40%, observe that the number here will drop. And obviously this makes sense because now I've reduced the number of things that I sold at number of items that I sold at the highest price. Most of them were sold at $20. The remaining 140 was sold at 15, right? So it's important for you to like um know or have an idea of what could possibly happen to your profits or your earnings at the end of each day if you alter this value. That would be in business terms. That would be if you sell uh more things at a higher profit margin, or you sell less things at higher profit margin. So this what if analysis will help us to gain some insights on how we can do that. So to use what if analysis, you go to the data tab in your Excel spreadsheet. You click on data, then you see this what if analysis here under forecast, the forecast section to the right. You click on that, it brings out three options, right? So the first one I want to look at is scenario manager. So click on scenario manager and it will bring this table, this dialog box for you. So now let's create a scenario based off this table. So we see what options we have. Let me zoom in a bit. Oh, you can't even. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Yeah, just follow along or try and zoom in on your devices if you can't see this. So yeah, we'll add a new scenario. Click on add scenario name. We say at 70%. So yeah, this scenario name is descriptive because it tells us, it gives you an idea of what I'm about to do, because I want to see what will happen to the total at 70%. If I sell 70% of my stock at the higher price. So that's the first field here. It says scenario name. So you can name it anything you want. I just named it something descriptive. The changing cells here is which cell affects the value of what you are trying to observe. So the cell that I know affects the value of what I'm trying to observe is this 40% here, because if I change it, it will affect so that highest price number and this one, which in turn affects my total value. So you need to already be clear on what cells or what fields affect your end results. So if you know that, you can easily just select them here. So if you click on this field, it allows you to just click outside of it and select the cell. Right, I only want just that one and select it. So that's cell B4, right? So when you do that, just click OK. Now the value I want it to be 70%. 70% is the same thing as 0.7. So I'm just going to type 0.7 there. Click OK. It comes back here. Let's let's add another scenario. Let's add one for 80%. At 80%. Changing cell B4 as well. Click OK. 80% is 0.8. Click OK. Let's add one more scenario. If I want to be a thief and I want to sell everything at the highest price, well, I don't know, it's business, sure. Is it fair to say someone trying to sell at the highest price but 90% of your stock is a thief? I don't know. But yeah, let's just say you want to try and sell every 90% of your stock at the higher price. And click OK. There 90% is 0.9 as well. So click OK. It will bring you back here. So now we have three scenarios. We have 70%, 80%, and 90%. Right? We can click on each one of them and click this show button, and it will show you the effect. What's wrong with my speaker? It will show you the effects of what happens if you are at that scenario. So you won't immediately alter the table, but it gives you an idea of it. You see the value change. So just click on show, you see what happens. So it changes value to 70%. Automatically that affects this one here. If you are selling 70% of your stock at highest price, then the remaining one will be 30. So your total earning now will be 741 instead of 38. So you're looking at this and you're like, okay, this is actually great. That means I can definitely, if I can strive to sell 70%, I'll earn 41. If your target is, let's say, 45 now, you know you need to increase that. So if you click on 80%, let's show the effect. This is 44. We're not quite there yet. My goal is 45, right? Click on 90%, show yet. This is above, but it covers it, so this works. So I need to strive for 80 to sell at least 80%. Sorry, yeah, 85 upward. You strive to sell like 85%. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? What's wrong with this thing? Hello, can you hear me? So I got disconnected. You can okay. What's wrong with this thing? Don't touch anything. Just a sec. I'll show my screen now. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what was the last thing you heard me say before got disconnected?
You were showing us how if you click on the different scenarios, the total will change.
Right. Okay. Yes. So you just yeah exactly. So if you click on those different scenarios, the total will change. So this is one aspect of what if analysis. And to make things easier, there's this summary button here that you can click that will show you everything side by side. So when you click on that summary button, you select the cell that corresponds to the result. So the result is B17 here in my own sheet. In different spreadsheets, this could be different cells. So just make sure you select that the sheet where the results go. So you click on that, then it will generate this. Let me.
I can't see your Excel screen.
Uh, oh, sorry, I was sharing just that time. Yeah. I should go through scenario manager again. From where? Like what part did you get confused at? Like you didn't get any part at all. Blessing, or you got lost at some point. Can you just unmute yourself and explain? You said yes to the first question or the last question. That
What you lost at
uh-huh.
the imputing of the percentage.
Yeah. Okay, you got confused when I was inputting those values.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Anyone else? If you have questions, please ask as early as possible before we go too far. So, as I said, if you wanted to check what the different scenarios are, if you the value, your resulting value changes based on like some other cell value in your sheet on your table, you can use this what if analysis to create different scenarios based off those different values. So before it was 60%. So that's why you keep in mind the the general plot of this spreadsheet in the first place is a bookstore. Why does my speaker keep tripping? Give me a minute, please. Anyways, yes. So just what will help you to understand is keeping in mind that scenario about you being a bookstore owner. You sold 60% of what you took to market to sell today at the higher price. So you had two price points. You could sell at $50 or you could sell at $20. By default, you are selling at 50. Anybody that comes to buy market, you say I'm. If they ask you for the price of the book, you say it's $50. Some of them are okay with that price and they will just buy it like that, and go. But some will want to bid you down, so they will price. So if they bid you down, you are willing to go as low as $20. Last. Now let's say we are going to forget about anything in between 50 and we are foregoing 40 and 30. We don't really care about those values in this particular spreadsheet. Realistically, your price could range from 50 to 20. So yeah, you could sell at 50 exactly. You could sell at 40, you could sell at 30, you could sell at 20. 20 is the lowest you would go, right? But let's say you only sold um at 50 and 20 throughout the entire day. So um at the end of everything, you got home, you sold all of your 100. It was a good day at the market. You sold all of the 100 things you took. You sold all of them. You didn't bring anyone back home, which is great. But now you want to calculate like what your profits, what your earnings are. Let's forget about profits. Profits, or that I don't know if I should say earnings, but earnings is like a much more subtle term than profit. So let's throw away profit. When I say profit, I don't mean. Sorry, when I say earnings, I don't mean after you've deducted your expenditure, like the costs of buying all those things in the first place. No, I don't. We are not caring about that yet. We just want to know how much we brought back home from selling all those items, given what we know. We know that we sold 60. So before we started at 60%. Let me change that. We know that we sold 60% of everything we have. Everything we have is 100. It's easy to calculate because 100%, that number, there's no disparity between 100 and 100%. So you can just easily calculate like 60% of 100 is 60, and that's straightforward. So, but anyways, we calculate, you saw that at the end of everything, your earnings, was 3.8. So now you now want to see if what the possible values of your earnings at the end of the day would be if you sell more or you sell less. And we can manually do that, right? You can just say, okay, let me see how much will I, well, what would be my total if 40% of everything I sold was the higher price of $50? That's what this, look at the field name. It said sold at highest price. That's what this represents, this 40 here. So if we change that, we see that the value drops 3.2. That gives you insights, and typically that's what you're trying to find when you just have data like this, right? So the what if analysis tool helps you to get insight from your data. If there's some variable, and by variable I mean this value that can change, that can vary. So we are varying it. Say 50, we could do it manually and do all of this. You know, it's pretty kind of straightforward here because I've used formulas and it's very straightforward. When you change this, it will affect the other one. But then you can imagine that you would have some much more complex sheets where you don't have the what's it called? You just don't have this privilege of being able to change values like this and seeing the results immediately. So you can use this what if um, analysis tool to help you with that by creating different scenarios. You can also have multiple columns apart from just this one, or multiple cells that affect the value overall. If you imagine you had like 10 cells to change to test what the, so all the, let's say this, no, instead of just this one being the only thing that affects this value here, you now have like 5 or 6 or 10 other cells scattered in multiple places in your sheet that affect some total results. It'll be much more difficult to change. You are more error prone when you have to type it in multiple places to get some final results. So now you can use this what if scenario manager analysis. It's generally called what if analysis, and they're like two things that we'll look at. We'll see goal seek and we'll see scenario manager. Scenario manager was the first one I said. So like we've seen, we changed value manually by ourselves 50%. That helped us give us insight because we now saw what we could possibly earn if we change the scenario to a situation where we sold 50% of our items at the higher price. But now I've created even more scenarios here, and then we can just click this show button and to show us what that situation would look like, what the final results would look like at the end of our sales day. And to do that is as easy as clicking on what if analysis, click on scenario manager. Typically you won't have anything here, it's because me I've added 3. Click on add scenario. Let's say we wanted a scenario at 75%. the changing cell is this is the cell that varies, right? But in the case where like that example where I was saying you could have multiple cells that affect the final result, all you need to do here would just be to click each one of them, right? So we only clicked just this before, and that's fine. Click OK. It bring you to this new dialog box. What's the value? What's the value of this new scenario? The value of this new scenario is 0.75 or 75%. So click OK, and now we have a new scenario. So now if I click show, it will show me what will happen if I sell. This is not actual data. This is me just looking forward to see what could happen when I have this data in reality. And what this will translate to is in reality is that you went to the market the next day, you sold 75% of what you have in stock at the higher price. Do you guys get? Huh?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The person that has the question. Oyelade Blessing.
Thank you. I understand.
Any other questions before we continue? No questions. Okay. You want to say something about Ewa Olua? Yeah.
No, I said no questions.
Okay. All right. Great. So glad to see we're all on the same page. So these scenarios will give you an idea of all those things. That instead of clicking them one by one, you can show a summary of all of them as well. So we click to show a summary of all of them. While we are still inside this scenario manager, there's this summary button down here. If you click on that, so here to ask you to select which cell. So you see it says result cells. So you could have multiple result cells or just a single result cell. That's fine. In our case, our result is inside just this one cell, cell B17. So I'm just going to select that. Click OK. It will generate this table for me, this summary table. Let's zoom in to see what the summary table looks like. Why can't this thing drag very well? So this is what the summary table looks like. Changing cells, it tells us which cell affects our final value. In this case, just one cell, cell B4. The result cell is B17. The current value, if you go back to the sheet, the current value is 70%. That's what that is showing us, current value here. So let's say this is our today's earnings, right? This is what happened at the market today. In reality, you sold 70% at the higher price, and your earnings was 4-1, right? This is one of the scenario as well. So 70% is just duplicated here. So we move on. At 80%, this values here don't represent what is actually in your sheet. Your sheet has current value. That's why you see this current value here. This is what happened today in market. This is what could possibly happen. It's a what if scenario, right? The what if is am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. The what if is that if I sell 80% of my stock by tomorrow or whenever that happens, I'm going to make 4,400. If I sold 90%, I'll make 47. If I sold 75, I'll make. This is what what if analysis helps us to accomplish. We are going from different possible value, to the resulting effects on our end results. So that's how that part works. So this is just that's the first part of what if analysis is the scenario manager. Now let's say we wanted to go the other way. Say we wanted to work our way from an end goal or an end result to what possible values could help us get somewhere. Here's what I'm saying. Let's say I have in mind a fixed, like a price point that I want to hit, or sorry, not a price point. don't let me say price point because I've used that for these two values here. But let's say I want there's a value, there's a particular value that's my target. Let's say you have a target for tomorrow. So target like how all these PayPal agents that go about, they always have targets like per day. And I know this because I've been like interacting with some of them that worked there before. So let's say one of them has a target. They'll tell you, oh, if you go out like that, you have a target. And no, I don't mean the people that chase people down for loans. So there's that one, but I'm talking about targets for like bringing in customers to Pampay. So they have like targets, like they have to meet the target of get 50 people in, all that kind of stuff. So imagine like they're not asking the question like, if I wanted to make, if I have a target of 50 customers tomorrow, what steps do I take to ensure that I meet that 15 target of getting 50 customers tomorrow, right? So that's the kind of question that the goal seek option in under that what if analysis tool helps you to find answers to or calculate. So back to our bookstore scenario. Let's say this bookstore owner has a target of uh 4 5. He has a target of 4 5, but you don't know, the person doesn't know how many percent of books he or she has to sell at the higher price, or how many percent of books you have to sell at lower price, vice versa. uh will help us to know to hit that target of 4,500 tomorrow. How can we do that math? We can definitely do it like on our own, but like in a spreadsheet, how do you do that? And you can remember this is a very simple example. The spreadsheet you could have, could be ones where you have like multiple variables, multiple total results. So it could be much more complex than this, but generally just for like this, the idea is the same, is what I'm trying to say. So back to this scenario anyways, you have a goal of 4 5. What values do you need here to make sure you hit that goal of 4,500? So to accomplish that, you use that the goal seek option, right? So to use the goal seek option, you go. Let's go back to what if analysis. We'll click on goal seek. Now it brings up this dialog box, right? So now there are three things here. He said you basically, the way you read it is you should read it like as a sentence. Set cell to value by changing cell. If you get what I mean. So read it from top, like left to right and top downwards. It's a whole sentence. The first line there says set cell, don't stop. Set cell, next line to value, next line by changing cell. That's how you should look at. That's how you should see the goal seek option. So it gives you an idea of what it is capable of. So what it is capable of is exactly what that sentence reads. It said set cell, which cell? The cell we want to change is our total, which is the result. We want to change this value to 4,500. How? By changing by changing some other variable that affects it. So we already know that cell B4 is what affects the value of 17, right? Obvious. So that's our end goal. So set cell is the end goal. The end goal is shit. How many minutes is left? Okay, 6 minutes. So set cell is the end goal cell, right? Or the results cell. To value, what value are we trying to get? Our goal is 4,500. How do we get this value? By changing cell. Which cell? B4, because that's a variable cell. That's a cell that needs to change for us to change the value of results, right? Keep in mind those two things: the questions and the implication in real life. In the implication in real life is we are trying to ask the question of what percent do I have to sell at the higher price for me to make the goal of 4,500. Set cell, this cell, to what value? The goal 4 5 by changing which cell? By changing cell B4. So Yeah, sorry, set cell B17 by changing cell B4. So you click OK and watch what it does. It tries to do the math for you. So it does the math for you. You don't need to crack your head and bring calculator out. It does all the math, and you see here you have 83%. You need to sell 83% of your stock at um the higher price for you to get 4 5, right? So you know it's spiritual. Obviously, like when you are reading this, you see here there are some decimal values. You have it 3.33 repeating, then you have 16.66 repeating, but it, it doesn't like so how you definitely read this. So this is 3.33 now. You know that you need to round down because you can't round up 3 to anything. This is just as good as 83 to maximize your profit. So this is okay as it is. That's why this is fine as it's 3%. Your lowest price, however, you don't need to increase it. The number of items that you need to sell at lower price. You don't need to round it up to say 17 because if you rounded this up to 16, this is 16.6. You can't sell uh you can't sell 6 over 10 of an item. It's not possible. So you need to sell a whole unit. So if you are going to round this, just round it to 16. If you round down to 16 and you're fine. So you are selling 83 items, the remaining 16 are being, yeah, okay. So ideally, so you probably have like one left. That one left, you can sell it at the higher price. So, but it gives you an insight of what needs to happen at least for you to make that 4 5 here. And you see that your value is now 4 5. So that yeah, I think yeah, that's all. So yeah, that's how you use the what if analysis to scenario. We've seen how to use scenario manager and goal seek to you know make some predictions or make some calculations from what we have in our data. Are there any questions? Eh? There are no questions. Okay. Are you
Sorry, I joined.
okay, okay, go on.
Yeah, I joined late, but maybe I'll just wait for the recording. Let me not take people back. I didn't get part of it, but it's fine. I'll just wait for the recording to go through it again.
Wait, it depends. What part? Is it very far back or just this part I just talked about?
No, very far back. Like
Oh, okay.
from the beginning of from the first part, yes.
Eh,
But it's fine. I'll just watch the
yeah,
recording.
I probably just was recording.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Ah, what's happening? Yeah, I'm hungry, sir. You which part don't you understand? Oladu, or is it Oladu? Oluwaduni.
I joined late as well.
Oh, you joined late.
Just
Okay.
for the recording. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Let's just.
Has the link for attendance been sent?
No, because no, what? Just forget that one for today. We'll take attendance tomorrow. Today is not supposed. There's no class today. Normally, this is a makeup class. So.
Okay, we're having class tomorrow.
Yeah. We're having class tomorrow.
Same time.
3 p.m. No, the normal time. Okay, this call is about to end. I'll send another link now. Or should we even stop here? Should we stop here? Okay, let me send another link first. It's going to be a class, Isn't the video now?